Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? I love meatloaf, but it's not what you're thinking. Yeah, hot fresh meatloaf is okay, but the one thing I look forward to from the minute I start making a meatloaf is leftover cold meatloaf sandwiches on white Wonder bread with ketchup and mustard. Even on its own, I actually prefer to eat cold meatloaf. Now if you guys remember not too long ago, I tried Pierre's hearty pork rib sandwich with not too great results. Frankly, it was bad. Now I like to give people and foods a second chance, and sometimes even a third chance. And that's what I did even more recently when I tried Pierre's drive-thru cheeseburger. And Pierre really took advantage of that and redeemed himself. The cheeseburger was very good for what it was, a highly processed frozen cheeseburger. So I figured since the second time I tried Pierre's sandwiches, it was good, I figured I'd try another one for the third try. So the other day when I was in Walmart, I found Pierre's 11-ounce meatloaf sandwich with ketchup for right around $3. And even though most of us know 11 ounces is more than a half a pound, Pierre obviously thinks we're all dummies because he lets you know it's over half a pound on the package. Since I love cold meatloaf sandwiches, my immediate intention was to eat this sandwich cold. But then on the way home, I really started thinking about it, and I said to myself, Self, is it really a good idea to eat a highly processed 4-meat slurry concoction sandwich cold? And then I replied to myself, no, Self, I do not think that's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to eat it cold, or even after it's heated up. But regardless of what myself thought, I had to try it, for you, the people, so you didn't have to. Now this ingredient list is more like a Pierre product, and a big contrast to the ingredient list in the drive-thru cheeseburgers. I knew the short list of ingredients wasn't going to last. Yes, the first ingredient in the meatloaf is beef, which is good. But then you see the mandatory ingredient in most processed foods, textured vegetable protein, which as most of you know, it's something I'm not real fond of. And then you have the usual long list of fillers and preservatives in the meatloaf patty and in the bun. So like I said, this ingredient list is a big contrast to the drive-thru cheeseburger we recently tried, which like I said before, was very good. Pierre's whole meatloaf sandwich has 660 calories, 24 grams of total fat, 9 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, 4 grams of polyunsaturated fat, 9 grams of monounsaturated fat, 65 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,620 milligrams of sodium, 85 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fiber, 24 grams of sugars, and 30 grams of protein. Well, so far, it seems like the only thing all those extra ingredients did was add a lot of sodium. So to heat our meatloaf sandwich up, we're supposed to open one end of the wrapper to vent and then microwave for 1 minute and 40 seconds to 2 minutes, and then let rest 30 seconds. So after microwaving on high for 2 minutes and resting for 30 seconds in the microwave, our Pierre's meatloaf sandwich with ketchup is ready. Before I could get the meatloaf sandwich out of the bag, all I could smell was hot ketchup, which doesn't necessarily smell very good. And right off the bat, that bread didn't look very good at all. It looked nice and soggy. But once we opened the sandwich up, you could see why it looked nice and soggy. It had a ton of ketchup on it. Which the amount of ketchup didn't bother me, I love ketchup. But when you put ketchup on a pre-made sandwich, and it sits in the wrapper or refrigerator for a couple weeks, the ketchup and the bread aren't going to interact good together. And rather than giving you one big patty, they give you two. And I'm not sure if the patties are supposed to be a little bit crispy on the edges, or if they burn a little bit while they were heating up. That could be a good or a bad thing. We're going to find out in a minute. So we flip the meatloaf over, and you can tell that the bottom bread is really soggy too. But that's from the moisture and the grease in the patties. And the bottom of the patties are perforated for some reason. I don't know if that's to help when they're cooking initially, or when you're heating them up. So for the purpose of the video, for you, the people, I'm going to put the one-of-a-kind, scientifically designed, state-of-the-art, razor-sharp plasticine to work. And watch how easily the plasticine cut through the sandwich. So now it's time to give our highly processed 4-meat slurry concoction meatloaf sandwich a try. And that actually didn't look too bad, and you got a double portion of meat with the first bite. So into the old pie hole it went. And the bread was surprisingly not tough and chewy. But it was a bit soggy, but not to the point it was bad. But the most surprising thing was, the meatloaf was actually really good. And the little burnt edges added a nice little crispiness to it that added a nice texture contrast with the soft meatloaf. The texture of the meatloaf was good, the flavor of the meatloaf was good, but the meatloaf combined with the sweet ketchup was really good. I was finding this hard to believe, that I didn't get a spongy texture with the meat, and I was actually enjoying it. But just to confirm my thoughts about the meat, I tried a piece of the meat by itself. And again, it was very good. I couldn't believe it. The sandwich itself was good enough to reassemble and finish eating the rest of the half, which normally when I do these videos, I take 1 to 2 bites for the purpose of the video, and then the rest goes in the trash. But this sandwich is actually pretty good. Good enough that I ate half, and my daughter and her boyfriend ate the other half. So here's my final thoughts on Pierre's meatloaf sandwich with ketchup. It was surprisingly good, but was it as good as a homemade meatloaf sandwich? No. But for what it is, a highly processed 4-meat slurry concoction meatloaf sandwich, it was darn good. The bread was a bit soggy, but still edible. The texture of the meatloaf is what really was surprising to me. Even though it had TVP in it and a lot of other fillers, it still had a good meaty texture to it. And besides the texture, the flavor was good. But the flavor of the meatloaf mixed with the ketchup was really good. Would I eat this sandwich often? No. Would I eat it on occasion, in a pinch? Absolutely. This sandwich would be absolutely wonderful to come home to after a night of drinking, which is why I'm going to give Pierre's meatloaf sandwich with ketchup an 8 out of 10. If you'd like to help support the Wolfe Pit, consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. That's only $12 for the whole year. Or you can pledge more. That's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high-quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.